that looks different. Well, hello there. You ever heard of fiddleheads? That's what these are. Fiddleheads are a special early spring Maine foraged food. Kind of a treat for Mainers. If you're from Maine, you've probably seen these at the supermarkets in April, May, and then they're gone for the year. That's the only time you see them. And if you're from away but you visit Maine, you may have seen these if you came early in the season. Fiddleheads are a vegetable. They are, I believe, cruciferous. I'm not sure. They taste somewhat like a cross between a green bean and asparagus. And the best way that I have found to eat them, everybody's different, but I like to blanch them or boil them for about 2 to 5 minutes in hot water with salt, and then saute them in butter. Some people like to put them in a nice little sauce. Others like to put them in like a frittata or an omelet. But that's not what they look like when you see them outside. That's what they look like after you wash them. When you first pick them, oh, and right here next to them I have some that are pickled. That's how we preserve them, is we pickle them like dilly beans. But here I have some that I just picked. These are fresh. That's what they look like right when you first pick them. They're covered in this really soft brown fluff. I'm sure it has a name. Just don't know what it is. But after you pick them, you bring them inside and just rinse them in water and get all of that soft brown fluff off of them. That just kind of falls right off easily. That's just like protective baby fluff, because what we're eating is a fern. You know, when ferns come up out of the ground, they unfurl. Like here's a beautiful fern that's just starting to uncurl. But when they first start out, they're all curled up like that. And when they very first poke out of the ground, this beautiful little corn starts to come up out of the ground with all these little nubs on it. Here's a really nice one. This one is a fern from last year. Still has all of these little spores. Those are seed spores that are just blowing in the wind. But if you break these down to the base here, you find this beautiful little corn. Looks like a crown. Actually, that's what it's called, a crown. And it's covered in that brown fluff. And as they age, it doesn't take long, a day or two, they start to look more like this. And the fluff starts to come off of them. It's good to pick them when they're right about at that stage. This is a bit too young. This is just at the point or a little bit too far. These are a few over here that have already sprouted up and are just too far. You don't want to harvest those anymore. So when you're looking for fiddleheads, you might see these little guys poking up out of the ground, and it gives you the sign that the crowns are all breaking ground and it's time to start harvesting. And you don't want to take all of them, so I'll show you on this one here. Since most of these are starting to be a little bit past their prime, what I'm going to do is take the smallest, youngest ones that just poked up out of the ground. So let me see, this one here. What I do is they curl from the outside in like a little spiral snail shell. So I pull them away and they just break when you pull them away. So there's a fiddlehead right there. I'm going to take this one too. Oh, threw that one. 2, and let's get this little tiny one that's way here in the middle. I like to take about 3 out of every crown, and I leave the rest. And the reason for that is you want them to grow into ferns so that they can propagate and come back next year. If they don't have any ferns to send out those green shoots and those fronds, then they won't grow, they won't develop any energy for winter, and they'll die off. So you have to leave a few for next year. They kind of develop at different rates, so as I go along harvesting, I'm just kind of checking to make sure I haven't already harvested from each plant. And you can tell because, let's see, have I harvested from this one? No, let's take a few of these. 1, 2, let's take this one in the middle, 3. Oh, accidentally took a 4th one. That's okay. Still a lot of them growing out of there. You can see the blunt ends where you've pulled a fiddlehead right there. That's a blunt end. So those will just kind of heal over, and then if you come out the next day to do another harvest, you'll see it. Like I see one right here that I harvested yesterday. So I know that I've already taken from that crown and I won't grab any more from there. I can go around the other ones, make sure I haven't taken any from there. Grab a little fiddlehead one. Take like 1 or 2 from each. We were really happy to see that this property that we bought last fall is just covered in fiddleheads, tons of them. So I'm going to be harvesting, preserving, and saving them all through the year, or for the year, because this is the only time that they poke up out of the ground. So we got to pick them. It's like use it or lose it kind of thing. So I'm going through just picking them, and as I pick them, I'm going to pickle them. And if you're in my family, you're probably getting pickled fiddleheads for Christmas this year. And Aaron and I are going to enjoy them throughout the year in salads and on the side of meat dishes. Here we go. Sometimes fiddleheads are very small. See how small those ones are? It just means that it's a younger crown of ferns. The ferns start out very small and they get bigger gradually over the years. So it takes a little while for them to get big like these ones. So sometimes you'll just see clusters of teeny little fiddleheads. That's okay, you can still eat them. And sometimes you'll see fiddleheads that don't quite look like the ones that we've been picking and eating. Look at these ones here, covered in these black hairs. Nature kind of tells you when you're not supposed to eat something. It's like mushrooms. Not every mushroom is edible, but there are edible mushrooms that are delicious. Not every fiddlehead is edible, but there are delicious fiddleheads that you can eat. And there are others that you do not want to eat. These are elephant ferns, which started out, I wish I had done the video a few days ago. They started out a few days ago as crowns, like fiddleheads, classic. Oh my God, they're so pretty. They're about to open up. But they were covered in this like wool, really fuzzy. So if you're new to Maine, if you were in the woods and you saw something like this, you would try to pick them thinking they might be fiddleheads, but you can't get that wool off. Normal fiddleheads, that brown chaff just blows right off when you touch it. Elephant fiddleheads, they hang on. So it's just nature's way of letting you know that this is not food. This one is not edible. The one that has the little black spiky dots is not edible. Yeah, if you're ever concerned and you're just not sure, don't eat it. But if you want to try something that's pretty delicious, a seasonal treat, and only grows, I believe, in the state of Maine, then that's what a fiddlehead is. Thanks for watching. I love you. See you soon.